Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news, keeping you up to date of what players are linked with Manchester United. So I'm going to give you some additional information on Matthias de Ligt. Also going to be giving you some more additional information on Thomas Partey, and there is lots of other things to talk about. So the first topic I'm going to start with is de Ligt. So there was narratives coming out of the mainstream media yesterday night, like I think a lot of Manchester United fans would have updated you on, and it did say, that Manchester United have reignited their interest in Matthias de Ligt. Now, last summer, de Ligt rejected moves to Manchester United, Barcelona, and PSG. A number of clubs were in for Matthias de Ligt last summer, but Matthias de Ligt, of course, decided to join Juventus. Juventus paid around €75 million for him, which equates to just over 67 million in pound sterling, and Matthias de Ligt signed around a 5-year deal with Juventus. Now, obviously, this is his first season in Turin, and I've got to say, Matthias de Ligt has endured a very, very difficult time. And it's a totally comparison, to how he was, when he was at Ajax. Because I thought he was a revelation at Ajax was Matthias de Ligt. Obviously, he joined Ajax's youth academy at the age of 9. He was in their youth academy for several years, and he broke into Ajax's senior squad in 2016, and since then become an integral part of their team. Don't forget Matthias de Ligt, last season with Ajax, he was key of Ajax winning the domestic double. Ajax, of course, also progressed to the Champions League semi-final, and he was also key for that. He also became the youngest player ever at the age of 17 years and 285 days old to play in a major European final. That was against us back in 2017 when we beat Ajax by 2-0. And back in December 2018, Matthias de Ligt won the Golden Boy Award, and he became the first defender to do that. But he's a very, very good centre-half, is Matthias de Ligt, and he is only at the age of 20, is the player. So Juventus, could be open to selling the player. Now, Manchester United are in search for a centre-half. Now, obviously, we have got a vast majority. We have got a lot of centre-halves in our team. Obviously, we've got Harry Maguire. We've obviously got Victor Lindelof. They are first choice centre-halves to Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. Backups are obviously, Bailly and Tuanzebe. And obviously, Luke Shaw a couple of times this season has played as a centre-half. And obviously, it's looking likely we're going to get rid of Phil Jones in the summer. He's another centre-half we've got. And I think we are going to decide to get rid of Chris Smalling on a permanent transfer because he's on loan with Roma at the moment. So I do believe Manchester United are keen on getting a deal finalised for Matthias de Ligt. We're very, very keen on getting a deal finalised for the player. Now, there's obviously no talks of Matthias de Ligt and Paul Pogba as a swap deal. And I think, we're willing to let Paul Pogba rejoin Juventus as long as, Juventus are willing to offer Matthias de Ligt and they're willing to offer, money in exchange. So this swap deal, could well happen and that. It could well happen, could this swap deal. Now, obviously, there is uncertainty over Paul Pogba's future. We have not yet resolved Paul Pogba's future. And like I mentioned, since Paul Pogba rejoined Manchester United from Juventus back in 2016, he's had a long-running transfer saga. Now, obviously, there hasn't only been now talks about, a swap deal with de Ligt. There's also been talks about a swap deal with Aaron Ramsey, a swap deal with either Dybala or Miralem Pjanic. And swap deals are very, very rare in the modern game. But maybe these teams who win for Paul Pogba only feel as though the only way of getting rid of Paul Pogba is, getting rid of him as part of a swap deal. Because obviously, disregarding the swap deal, we'd want at least £100 million for Paul Pogba in the summer transfer window. But, we're trying to resolve his future, basically. And Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, has been talking since the turn of the year, really. His recent comments, he said he wants to take a great footballer to Real Madrid. And he says that Pogba is having a complicated time at Manchester United. Now, actually, last summer, Paul Pogba's preference was a move to Real Madrid. But the main explanation why Pogba's move to Real Madrid didn't materialise is because, we priced him out of the market because we wanted around £180 million and Real Madrid were not willing to meet that £180 million valuation. And that we basically wanted just over double than what we paid for him from Juventus, basically. He still does want to leave Manchester United, Pogba, so I still believe he's got the same perception as what he had, last summer, because he obviously wanted to leave the football club last summer. But if Pogba doesn't go to Madrid, I think he'll make a return back to Juventus, because he did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus, and since he rejoined Man United, the vast majority of his performances have been totally comparison to his ones in Turin. I think we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba as a Manchester United player in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. There's been talks about Manchester United possibly extending Paul Pogba's contract until 2022, because Pogba has got 2 years left in his contract. There's 1 year with an option of a further year, and Pogba is on around £300,000 a week at the football club, so he is one of the highest paid players at Manchester United. And he's 27 years of age, Paul Pogba, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Also PSG and Barcelona have been in for him in the past. But don't forget, Ed Woodward has been in negotiations with Mini Raiola on a number of occasions to try and resolve Paul Pogba's future and to stop Mini Raiola making public attacks against the football club, because he's made a number of public attacks against the club since the start of the year. And, a lot of people have been very, very critical of this. Don't forget, Paul Pogba did say Manchester United is about trophies. And he re-amended our 2017 Europa League triumph when we beat Ajax by 2-0, talking about how much that meant to Paul Pogba. There's reports saying as well that Pogba's only worth £31 million now, because obviously, due to this coronavirus pandemic, I think a lot of teams could lose millions in transfer revenues and stuff like that. And obviously, with the length on his contract, that could drop his valuation down. Plus, he's only played 8 times this season as Paul Pogba. His appearances have been limited in that. So I think a lot of United fans would say, yeah, De Ligt come to Man United and as part of a swap deal of Pogba making a return back to Turin. But I think De Ligt would go very, very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. Complement each other really, really well, to be quite honest with you. And I know, with Harry Maguire is a very, very good centre-half. Manchester United paid £80 million for him last summer from Leicester, and I think he's done very, very well for us. And I think the club did make the right decision by giving Harry Maguire the captaincy on a permanent basis. We're giving the captaincy reflecting on Ashley Young's departure, but he's done really, really well for us. But we're looking for someone to go alongside him, and Lindelof's done really, really well alongside him in that. And I do believe, personally, that Lindelof is too good to be a backup. Lindelof is now into his 3rd season as a Man United player. He struggled in his 1st season at the football club, but I think last season did well, and this season he's continued that consistency up, and we paid £30 million in from Benfica. Bay, I think, you can say he's a backup, but I think he's too good to be a backup. My only element of concern about Eric Bay is that he's too injury prone and that. But I still would be determined to keep him at Manchester United. But yeah, I'd love De Ligt, to come in alongside Harry Maguire, because De Ligt, his speed's good. He's very, very good in the air. He shows that ability to play out from the back. Plus, he'd fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because, Solskjaer wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players to Manchester United. So let's just put that into the equation. If we weren't to get Matthias De Ligt, in the summer transfer window, we can maybe see Koulibaly as an alternative for Napoli. Now, he's another central defender that's been on Manchester United's agenda, Koulibaly. And I like Koulibaly a lot. Obviously, he's now into his 6th season with Napoli, he's Koulibaly, so he's been a long-serving player for Napoli. He'd probably cost us more money than Matthias De Ligt would, Koulibaly, to be fair. I think Napoli said they want in the 70-odd or 80-odd million pound range for him. He said recently Man United were willing to pay £76 million for Koulibaly. And if Koulibaly was to come in, I would be excited about the prospect of him playing alongside Maguire, because, they're on the same sort of level, aren't they, Koulibaly and Harry Maguire. Koulibaly is around, 28 or 29 years of age now, so he is an experienced centre-half. I think he's got a contract with Napoli until 2023. Napoli paid around £6 or £7 million in from Genk, so if Napoli sold him, they'd make a huge profit on the player. But I don't know if he's going to be leaving Napoli in the summer. Reports came out the other week saying that he'd allegedly told the Napoli president that he wants to leave Napoli in the summer, especially if Napoli do fail to qualify for the Champions League in that. So that's the latest news regarding De Ligt. And that. But as you all know, Solskjaer's identified, the two key areas where he wants Manchester United to strengthen up. He wants us to recommend a right winger in, and he wants us to recommend a central midfielder in. And, he believes that, we still need to address the deficiencies in the squad. And he thinks we need around 3 signings in the summer, Solskjaer. He thinks we need around 3 signings to become title contenders next season. Now, we'll delve into news regarding Thomas Partey. I think I updated you regarding news about Thomas Partey a couple of days ago. Now, according to reports, Manchester United and so too Arsenal are set to miss out on Thomas Partey, because I think he's closing in on signing a new contract with Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid have been in negotiations over getting Thomas Partey a new contract. If he signs this new contract, by the way, his release clause will increase by a lot. I think his release clause will be around £90 million. His release clause at the moment in his current deal is around, £45 million. Plus, if he signs this new contract, his wages will increase to around £80,000 a week and that. But we've expressed an interest in Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey is a holding midfielder, and Manchester United are in search for a holding midfielder. I think Thomas Partey is around, 25 or 26 years of age. I think he spent the vast majority of his career with Atletico Madrid, and he's been another player on Manchester United's agenda, but looking very, very likely he's going to be remaining loyal to Atletico Madrid. So he's going to be signing this new contract. As it stands, he's under contract with Atletico Madrid until 2023. But yeah. But, there's been quite a few Atletico Madrid players on our agenda. Obviously, don't forget, a couple of weeks ago we inquired about the availability of Thomas Lemar. We also went in for Sol Niguez. Well, we are still in for Sol Niguez, should I say, because recent reports did say that we're very confident that we can finalise a club record transfer for Sol Niguez. It said he is going to cost us in the excess of around £135 million, because that's Sol Niguez's release clause in his contract with Atletico Madrid, and Sol Niguez has got a contract with Atletico Madrid until 2026, so he's got around 6 years remaining on his contract. 3 years ago, Sol Niguez had signed a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid, and he's 25, 26 years of age. He spent the vast majority of his career with Atletico Madrid, I think, apart from one season as Sol Niguez. When he was younger, he was predominantly a centre-half, was Sol Niguez, but now he can play as a central or a defensive midfielder, can the player. And I think he's close to making 300 appearances in all competitions for Atletico Madrid. Obviously, it said the other week that, he'd turned down a contract offer from Atletico Madrid, so possibly he could leave Atletico Madrid. We're basically seeing Sol Niguez as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba, because we've got a few players on our agenda who could replace Paul Pogba at the football club. So I also now want to give you a bit more news on Jack Grealish, because I have been talking with you guys about Jack Grealish on a regular basis. I still believe Jack Grealish to Manchester United is still possible in the summer transfer window. Now, I think Jack Grealish is expected to cost us in the 70-odd or 80-odd million pound range. Well, I think it's now saying £80 million Jack Grealish would cost us. Now, obviously, reports were saying he's moved now to Manchester United in the summer could be off due to the incident with his Range Rover, because don't forget, Jack Grealish had crashed his £80,000 Range Rover into 3 parked cars in the West Midlands after, he'd been at a party and that, and obviously, hours before the incident, he urged people to stay at home due to the coronavirus. And Jack Grealish has come out and give his overarching view on what's happened, and, he's made an apology. He feels embarrassed about, the incident and that. And I think Jack Grealish has been fined around £150,000. But I still think Man United can still possibly get Jack Grealish in the summer. You know, if Villa were to avoid relegation, he'd cost around 70 or 80 million. But if Villa were to go down, it wouldn't cost as much as that. I think we'd get him maybe for around 30 or 40 million pounds. So we'd get Jack Grealish on the cheap. If Villa, were to avoid relegation anyway, I still don't think that would be enough to convince Jack Grealish to remain with them. Jack Grealish has become an integral part of Villa's team since he broke into their senior squad back in 2014. He was key to them progressing to the Carabao Cup final this season, and he was also key to Aston Villa's promotion to the Premier League. But I've got to say, he's flourished under Dean Smith's guidance. He's got a contract with Villa till 2023, so 3 years left on his contract, Jack Grealish. And he has spent the vast majority of his career with Aston Villa. I think he did actually have a loan spell with Notts County, did the player. But, there's been quite a few clubs in for him. Revert back to the summer of 2018. Tottenham were very, very close to getting him for 25 million, but the deal never materialised in that. Jack Grealish is 24, he's predominantly an attacking mid, but occasionally he can play as a winger. But we're looking for someone to partner up with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. This is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's looking to do. Because Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He has made a fantastic impact as Bruno Fernandes. 3 goals, is it? And 4 assists or something like that so far. 1 Premier League Player of the Month for February. And I think, Pogba and Bruno Fernandes would go very, very well together in our midfield. But I do probably Paul Pogba is going to be leaving. I can't assure anything yet because nothing is certain. But, we need someone to go alongside Fernandes in our midfield. Pogba will play again, even if he does leave in the summer. He will play again for Manchester United because the season is going to resume. But one transfer that looks very, very imminent this summer, and that's Jadon Sancho to Manchester United. I think he's going to be the first signing that Manchester United are going to make in the summer, Jadon Sancho. Don't forget, he's expected to cost us in the region of around £120 million. He'll cost us £100 million at least, but either figure is going to make him a record signing in the Premier League, and it's going to make him our most expensive signing, Jadon Sancho. Now, as you all know, Borussia Dortmund have remained ruthless over their valuation, meaning they're not going to let him go on the cheap. This is what the Borussia Dortmund confirmed, and Manchester United have got to pay his full asking price. So we're not going to get him on the cheap despite this coronavirus pandemic. Now, as you all know, Jadon Sancho's agent came out yesterday, give us some good news. And he said, that Jadon Sancho's links to Chelsea and Liverpool have shut down. So this is what his agent said. I think he's unofficially confirmed that he will be completing a transfer to Man United in the summer. That was coming from the Irish Independent a couple of days ago. And Manchester United are willing to offer Jadon Sancho around £400,000 a week. So that will make him the highest paid player at the club. So he would be on more money than David De Gea, because De Gea is on around £375,000 a week. And Man United as well are willing to offer him the iconic number 7 shirt. And we need a number 7. And like I've said, we've had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations. And I do believe Jadon Sancho can follow them footsteps. Fabrizio Romano came out the other week. And then I did believe there was some, there was a lot of trustworthy in it, when he came out about it. Because Fabrizio Romano is a very reliable Italian journalist. And he said Man United have been in contact with Jadon Sancho's agent for a couple of months at least, and we've been working on his contract. But I think Jadon Sancho's revealed that he does want to come to Manchester United and that. But, Jadon Sancho's been a revelation in Germany. He's now into his 3rd season with Borussia Dortmund. He was dropped in a lot of games earlier on in the season. I think Jadon Sancho's made 69 Bundesliga appearances and he scored 27 goals and provided 27 assists. And he's got a contract with Dortmund until 2022. Borussia Dortmund will make a huge profit on the player because they only paid around £7 or £8 million in from Man City. So they're going to make a huge profit on the player. But Borussia Dortmund are looking for an adequate replacement for Jadon Sancho. The main explanation why he left Manchester City is because he didn't get any first-team opportunities at Manchester City, did the player. But it'll be good for Jadon Sancho to come and reunite in the Premier League And don't forget, he's got a really, really good friendship with Rashford. That's also beneficial. So let's just put that into the equation. So looking likely he's going to be our first signing in the summer. And our sixth signing overall under the Solskjaer era. And that's if Solskjaer is still Manchester United manager next season. I already didn't I give you the news regarding Jude Bellingham yesterday. I think now, Borussia Dortmund are emerged as the favourites to sign Jude Bellingham, because obviously reports were saying from the German press yesterday that Jude Bellingham is a signature away from completing a transfer to Borussia Dortmund. So looking likely, Man United are not going to get him, but he's still been a priority target for Manchester United. Jude Bellingham's expected to cost around 30 odd million pounds, because this is what Birmingham City do value him at. But Borussia Dortmund are emerged as the favourites, and I think the player's preference is a move to Borussia Dortmund. But there's more transfers getting Sancho than Jude Bellingham, without a shadow of a doubt. As you all know, there's been quite a few strikers on our agenda. There's been a few strikers on our agenda. Obviously, there's been the likes of Kane on our agenda, Aubameyang in recent weeks, Timo Werner. Timo Werner and Aubameyang would be much cheaper solutions than Harry Kane, because they cost like 3 times less than Kane. Werner available for £50 million. Aubameyang available for around £50 million. Tottenham said they want around £150 million for Harry Kane. But Man United have got to try and get a centre forward in the summer transfer window. And I am aware that we have got a lot of good attacking players. We've got Anthony Martial, that's recently rejuvenated himself. Obviously, Martial now is into his 5th season as a Manchester United player, and he's made over 200 appearances for the club and scored 60-odd goals as Anthony Martial. He's on around 15 or 16 goals this season. Now, obviously, this season, Martial's been operating in that number 9 role, but he predominantly plays out wide on the left. But he's endured some bad spells as a Manchester United player, let's be honest. But still, I highly rate him. He's only the age of 24. One of the best seasons Martial endured was his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Manchester United, paid around £36 million to him from Monaco for Martial. Also to Marcus Rashford, he was one of our best players earlier on in the season. Obviously he's been out of a back injury for quite some time. The positivity regarding him is that when the season does resume, Rashford should be in action, because it's confirmed recently that Rashford has stepped up his fitness regime. Solskjaer did confirm he prefers Rashford on the left. But obviously, Odion Ighalo, he's made a fantastic impact, and he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. 4 goals in 3 starts for Odion Ighalo. He's an option of a different type of centre forward, so he's totally comparison to our other attacking players. He's Odion Ighalo, and he's highly experienced, and he's been a Manchester United fan since he was a boy. Now, Solskjaer did make an admission saying it's more than likely that Man United will decide to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer in the summer, and it's been revealed how much it will cost us. It'll cost us around £15 million to get Ighalo on a permanent transfer. But obviously, we've got him on loan at the moment. Man United paid around 3 or 4 million to get him on loan, and we're paying like a third of his wages. Don't forget his parenting club, Shanghai Shenhua. They obviously offered him £400,000 a week before tax, plus a 2-year contract extension. But I've got to give Odion Ighalo a lot of credit, because I think he's confounded his critics wrong. Mason Greenwood have also been very, very impressed with him this season. I think this is Mason Greenwood's first season in the senior squad. Made his debut in the 2-0 defeat to Cardiff at the end of last season. And he's an option. You can play him as a number 9. You can also play Greenwood on the right. He seldom starts in the Premier League. He tends to start more in the cup games. Daniel James, another good attacking player Man United have got. He did score in the 5-0 win against Lask, and that ended his goal drought, because that was his first goal since the 31st of August. Daniel James is a good signing. He's been a good signing for us. Fantastic when he first came in, but hasn't been brilliant in the last couple of months. There's still aspects of Daniel James's game that needs to improve, such as his crossing, his tracking back needs to improve a little bit. But Manchester United have got a lot of good attacking players in that. But like I mentioned, My like I've said to you, my verdict on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think he does deserve at least another season at Manchester United. Does Solskjaer? He deserves another season at Manchester United because this is Solskjaer's first full season at Manchester United at the moment, and it is a transition period. It is a transition period, and I think he's been here now for around 15 months of Solskjaer in total, including the time, when he was the interim manager in that 3 month period. But like I've said, there's a lot of, positive you can take from Solskjaer's tenure so far, and there's also a negative you can take from his tenure. But obviously, the positives are is that we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. And that's our best vein of form since Solskjaer was the interim manager. And the last time we lost was at home to Burnley by 2-0. Don't forget Burnley beating us at Old Trafford for the first time since 1958 or was it 1968 or something like that. But since then, we've done really, really well, to be fair. Also, too, Solskjaer's promoted the youth well. The young players have been given their opportunities because Solskjaer did say at the start of this season that the young players would get given their opportunities. But he said overall, anyway, when he first got the Man United job, he said that every player, would get their chances to express themselves. This is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came out with. Also, too, we've done very, very well against the big six sides this season. We've registered like 17 points against the big six sides this season. That's also a positive you can take. Also, and I think his approach to the big games have also been very, very good. Solskjaer's also progresses to the last 8 of the Europa League. He's also progresses to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, and they are two ambitions for Man United because that is a chance of us getting some silverware on the board. So that's another positive you can take. So there's a few positives you can definitely take, but the negatives is that, we have enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season ever. So this is our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. Another negative is that, Solskjaer's approach to the games against lower opposition haven't been so good. He hasn't really had a plan A, or he hasn't really had a plan B, and he hasn't really made the right decisions. Since Solskjaer got the job permanently, his record has been disastrous, so that's also a negative. So let's just put that into the equation. But there again, Solskjaer's record was disastrous at Cardiff. He only enjoyed a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. He only managed around, was it 28 or 29 games for Cardiff. The main explanation why he got sacked from Cardiff is because he obviously got Cardiff relegated. But obviously, Molde did quite well because he won a couple of Norwegian titles at Molde, did Solskjaer. But he does deserve more time. And, Solskjaer, in 3 transfer windows, has recruited 5 players into the club and spent around £220 million. Also, I've got to give him a lot of credit as well because, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood Solskjaer since he's come into Manchester United. So that's a positive you can take, and Solskjaer's planning on getting rid of around 5 or 6 players in the summer. I've already gone through with you, I think the players who Manchester United will get rid of in the summer. I think we'll definitely get rid of Fosu-Mensah, or we could get rid of Fosu-Mensah, should I say. We'll definitely get rid of Phil Jones, because obviously Phil Jones can't even get in the team now. I think we'll probably get rid of Lingard and Andres Pereira because they are 2 liabilities now at Manchester United. We'll negotiate on getting rid of Alexis Sanchez on a permanent transfer. We'll also probably negotiate on getting rid of Marcus Rojo on a permanent transfer. Angel Gomez, I think we'll try and convince him to stay. Don't forget the other week it said we'd offered Angel Gomez a new contract worth around £30,000 a week, plus an option of a 3rd year. But, there's uncertainty over his future at the moment. That's why he's seldom played under Solskjaer this season as Angel Gomez. So, yeah, around 5 or 6 players will leave Manchester United in the summer. But like I've said, revert back to what I said before, it takes managers time, to get things right and that. And prime example, Klopp, wasn't good straight away at Liverpool. It took him time to emulate to the level that he's at now. Ferguson, when we recommended him in, he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United, and obviously our board and that was talking about sacking Ferguson. And I think he was one game away from getting the sack, but he didn't. And look what he went and accomplished after that 4 years of not winning anything. One of the most decorated managers of all time, and that Ferguson. And obviously Ferguson retired in 2013. And since he retired, Man United have been playing catch-up for the last 6 or 7 years. We've had different managers with different philosophies. Obviously, a hell of a lot of money's been invested into the football club since the Ferguson era. I think we spent over £1 billion, not half a bit, just under £1 billion, on recruiting players in. But we've recruited over 30 odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era, so let's just put that into the equation. We've only won 3 trophies since the Ferguson era, and that was the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal and the Europa League and the League Cup under Jose Mourinho and that. But Man United have made a lot of mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years or so. But you can see that Solskjaer has laid the foundations into place and stuff like that. And he wants to build a squad, and then he'll be hopeful that the players the more players and that he does bring in can replicate what the team and that did under the Alex Ferguson era, because the vast majority of the players have now gone from the Alex Ferguson era. There's only Jones and De Gea here now. There's only Jones and De Gea now here from the Alex Ferguson era and that. But like I've said to you, he does deserve more time at the football club. There's obviously still been rumours saying if Man United don't get qualification for the Champions League, that Solskjaer could still be axed at the end of the season. But he's got the backing of Ed Woodward, and he's also got the backing of the Glazers. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe. As always, take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.